Imagine for a second you're an anonymous internet user who's very passionate about things like privacy, web development, and fraud. You've got a close friend, Han, and less than a year ago he took over Doxbin as the new owner. At this time, Doxbin was a Tor site that was dedicated to hosting doxes of various people around the world, and anyone could post another person's information on here and it would never be taken down. The project had been passed down to Han from a friend of his, and at this point it was pretty fucked. The previous owner had been some Chan forum incel who couldn't properly run the forum, and since Han took over the site, he hadn't done anything useful except hosting an IRC chat server, which ironically got the entire box nulled. Because of this, massive drama had now sprung up and Han needed someone else to take over the project. He turns to you and asks if you're willing to run Doxbin. Now, turning the site around wouldn't be too difficult for you if you focused your time into it. Doxbin already had a decent sized community during this time, even as the site was literally falling apart in front of users. You gracefully accept and take up the name Nachash, and now it's time to begin transforming the site. At this point, you could say that Doxbin went uphill from here, or that it went downhill. You would both be correct. While the community was growing and the site seemed to be in a better shape now, Nachash, along with his new business partner in Tangier, didn't feel the need to put any restrictions on the community. They now openly allowed and encouraged credit card fraud, as well as making Doxbin a home for a new kind of community. This new Doxbin community was much less righteous than the previous generation of doxers. Many of these guys were criminals, skids with huge ego problems, or something much worse. The tradition of doxing someone for little to no reason at all became the norm very fast, which was very different because before, doxes were a way to make sure certain people's crimes would never be forgotten on this side of the internet. Now obviously all this bad stuff also existed before Nachash took over, but he sure as hell encouraged most of the bad things happening on Doxbin.
Hey, fuck you, man!
On the 6th of November 2014, the FBI took down 27 sites hosted on the dark web, including the Silk Road, Hydra, and of course Doxbin. The takedowns were a part of an operation named Operation Anonymous, which apparently used a Tor zero-day exploit found by the University of Carnegie Mellon to de-anonymize websites on the Tor network using a DDoS attack. The reason for the takedown, according to all sources I looked at, can be summed up to because they could. Since there were never actually any official files about Doxbin related to this operation, and it just seemed that the FBI saw that they had the ability to take it down when shutting down all these other Tor services, and of course, they took that opportunity. Not long after the takedown, Nachash simply retired from his community in 2015 and basically said that no law enforcement has caught me yet and probably never will. I have no plans of reviving Doxbin as it's become a skid show for 12-year-olds and isn't worth my time anymore. Tangier followed his retirement shortly after and went on to pursue his own life as well. Before Nachash left though, he also published a guide on GitHub called So You Want to Be a Darknet Druglord. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go check it out. For 3 whole years, pretty much everyone collectively forgot about Doxbin. Of course, there were some clone sites that popped up, but most of them got owned, seized, or simply died down. Then in 2018, a user by the name of KT, along with Brendan, acquired the domain doxbin.org, which then revived the community and quickly became the new go-to host for doxes all over the internet. This meant that Doxbin would no longer be hosted on the Darknet, but instead be accessible to anyone with a web browser. I know on paper this makes no fucking sense, like why would the government allow the site to exist on the ClearNet but not on Tor? Well, somehow the site was in some sort of legal gray area during this time, and because of this, it remained online. From 2018 onward, the site and its community grew massively, and if you've heard of Doxbin, you probably heard of it during this time. As of today, Doxbin has over 250,000 registered users and at least 135,000 pastes. After running the site for some time, KT and some of his staff got together and started a group named Vile. They made a name for themselves by hacking into various law enforcement portals, doxing multiple disgusting community members, and, you know, other things.
Vile came to get you. Bye-bye.
After 2 Vile members were arrested for hacking into the DEA, the group split, so KT and Bren decided to sell Doxbin. They ended up buying the site back the first time it got sold due to some drama I've already made a video about, but the second sale happened just a few months ago, and it seems like this one is final. The new owner goes by the name Operator, and like the previous ones, not much is known about him. Now, as serious as this website sounds, it's pretty clear that most of the stuff that's posted on here on the daily is just some Roblox or Minecraft kids trying to act like actual hackers. That being said, that doesn't mean there aren't people on there that aren't dangerous. Matter of fact, there's plenty of horrible things that have sprung up from this community, one of the most known things being the Cult 764. I'm not gonna go in detail in this video, but these guys used to prey on young, impressionable children and blackmailed hundreds of them into making cut signs for the group, among other disgusting things. Other unrelated Doxbin members have also popularized the idea of going to people's houses and harassing them by swatting, extorting, robbing them, and much more. Anyone can be targeted by these kinds of attacks, but most commonly it's SIM swappers. People have made a fortune by stealing their victim's phone number and using it to bypass two-step verification on their crypto wallets or social media accounts. Of course, regular people have become victims too, and I've both heard stories and seen plenty of videos of people doing this kind of stuff. Unsurprisingly, it seems like these attacks happen most frequently in the States and the UK, but also in other countries across Europe and even Australia. If you're interested in knowing more about these kinds of groups like Brick Squad, check out my video about them after this. Peace.
Blow bands, blow bands, blow bands. Blow bands, blow bands, blow bands. Check my pants, they say true man. Blow bands, blow